Okay, our microscope camera's plugged in and we're good to go. Hopefully this will be an easy no backlight. I need an easy board repair after a month of non-stop power cycling, PM sleep S4L, and all that nonsense. And please put the screw in the fan in the right spot. That is no good. You do not want your fan shaking like this. You want your fan to spin, not shake and vibrate. So we're going to go over the board of this A1466. Notice we already have some corrosion here by our clock chip. And what do you know? What is this thing? What this does? Wonder if this has anything to do with our no backlight issue. Because this is our backlight driver. And notice all of this junk and corrosion around it? That is no good and cannot be trusted. Most likely we'll have a blown out feedback trace, which is fairly typical of these boards. Maybe not. Yeah, there's actually no ball left. So if you can see there, there is 0 ball under there, so most likely there'll be no pad there. So in that case, what we'll do is scrape away this little nub right here and run a wire under there. If that doesn't work, we're going to go over here to these 2 probe points and run a wire there, one there, and one to the other side of the board. So the first things first is to get this chip off of the board. So we're going to kick on the fume extractor. And add a little flux here. Now I'm going to get rid of all that leaded solder. As usual, you don't want leaded solder there when you wick. And as usual, our feedback trace is gone. As it's been explained 100 times before in the past, a DC to DC boost circuit needs feedback to know what it's creating. If you don't have feedback, it's not going to work. It needs to know if it's where it's at. So notice how that pad is just gone and corroded. Most times we can get away with a little nub right here. Sometimes this trace is blown out. However, this one doesn't look terrible, so I think we're okay. So we're just going to scrape a little bit. Just want to wear away that coating. You could always check in diode mode too. Diode mode is a good check of a circuit usually, but I can tell this one should be just fine. So what we're going to do is diode mode to ground on that little nub and compare that to D7701 or whatever it is. And we have open line here. So do we have open line on D7701? We may, since it is a... Yep, we're good. So next thing is I'm going to wick that old solder away and run a little wire. And it appears that YouTube notifications are still not working properly. Which is typical of YouTube notification. That's why we have 8 watching instead of 25 or 30. Fair enough, I just saw your message. I could share it in general. I mean, why not? Or we can just roll with it, and if people see it, they see it. If they don't, they don't. So now I just got rid of all that solder from that area. So now what I'm going to do is put a little bit of solder on that one nub right there. Could probably get away with that just like that, but we're not going to. I'm going to run a little bit of wire just to be safe and make sure we have a good connection that lasts over time. Don't want this to stick up too much because then our chip won't sit flat. What gauge of wire is that? 37, I think. That's what I always use, so hopefully we don't mess this up, because I keep forgetting to order LP8550s, and I'm really low on them. Never forget to order LP8550s. Also, I'll end up reballing one from a donor board. I hate it when telemarketers call my store, especially fake scam telemarketers. You know what? I'm gonna use a smaller gauge wire on this. I don't like that. It's not sitting flat. I don't want to screw this up. So what I'm gonna do is get some even smaller wire and make that trace a little bit better. So one really cool thing is you can use a piece of solder wick for this. So if you cut a little piece of wick where it's frayed outward, you can get a little piece of wire, cut that, and make a nice little trace with that. And that's what we're going to do here. It's feedback, so it's not really carrying a load, not like our output line. So we should be fine. And that's not enamel coated or anything, so don't go crazy and make a big long wire across the board, because you will end up with a dead logic board. Screwing up logic boards is never fun. Feedback is not high load, not to my understanding. To my understanding, the feedback is just like a reference, so the chip can see what it's creating. I could be completely wrong on that, so don't quote me, but so now we have a nice jumper that should work just fine when that ball melts. Should go right onto that, and we should get a working screen, with any luck. Dan the plumber is here. Get a proper wire will be easier to solder, better wire control. I mean, this method has worked just fine for me, for hundreds of boards. So why change? Sarah is here. Pin 5 is gone. It's absolutely correct. MacBook Repair says hi. This isn't blowing away, so I'm going to turn the air all the way up and give it a good reflow. And there it is. Not the prettiest, but should work. Now this stuff we'll come back and get. That's going to go through the ultrasonic. As U1950, good. So now we're going to see if we get a light on the screen. It's also had the complaint of blurry screen, so hopefully we don't turn it on to bad RAM or something like that. I don't know how they could have said it's blurry when you don't have backlight. It's going to do the usual 34-37 quarter fan spin. I believe we have 24 volts on backlight output, so this should be working. Let's wait for a question mark. They have a stupid sticker on the back, so I can't see it. 24 to 27 volts means your backlight is working. Working backlight. MacBook is fixed. And I managed not to screw this board up like I did yesterday. Let's see. So now what I'm going to do is go ahead and replace everything else that looks a little bit messed up, because that cannot be trusted. We can't leave corroded caps on there, and I also took off a few caps for Thunderbolt. The clock chip is working, so I'm not really concerned about that. Sometimes if you get liquid on those, they die right away. Sometimes I'll replace them if they're corroded bad enough, they work, but that will be fine after ultrasonic, and a little bit of flux when we change those caps next to it, and that will be good as new. So we'll grab a donor board. Or a couple donor boards, because we want to be prepared. Do I offer in-person tutoring? Not at this time. I'm too busy. Wait a second. There we go. So, just some corrosion by the clock chip. Nothing too bad. Nothing terrible on our SPI traces. However, we could touch those up. I could honestly leave these caps on, but I don't want to take a chance. the flux went on the bench and not where we needed it to go. If anyone ever works here in the future and you go to my station, wear gloves, because there's usually flux everywhere. I don't even wear gloves unless it's... As far as in-person tutoring, you don't really need it, to be honest. What I would do is use that money that you are planning to spend on in-person tutoring and spend that on good equipment. I mean, most of this is just going to be trial and error, and a lot of what people get confused on is they don't have the work to practice on, so they think they need tutoring. But in reality, you just need to get out there, and the more work you get, the better you'll be. Watch the getting started video I did earlier this morning, and that should help. It's like when I did it, I just jumped in. I'm just going to touch up these traces right here. Won't hurt it. Generally, resistors are fine to leave on the board if they're corroded. Just flux is the worst of all board repair. No, it's not. How could you say something like that? Flux makes your life easier. I see a BIOS feeling uneasy. BIOS is no reason to feel uneasy. How do you get flux on your face? Seriously though, remember where you're... If you have flux on your hands, remember not to touch your face. Lewis offered it in 2017, and it was a huge help when I went. Have been repairing MacBooks for the past 3 months with a 95% success rate, but some boards I get real stuck on. I get stuck on boards all the time. Just like the board with the hole in it. That one was a real troll. And both these donor boards don't have the parts that I need for the Thunderbolt circuit. I get stuck on 20 boards out of my 40. What boards are you getting stuck on? What's the issue? I mean, if you're getting all PM Sleep S4L and Platform Reset L and stuff like that, then that's not you. That's just the boards. I mean, I get stuck on boards with SO start to boot, and then halfway through loading it restarts. What's out of the 3209, 820 3209, or 3023? Any of those? Yeah, that's. The thing about being stuck on those, it's not you, it's the board. I mean, (2011, 12), yeah, that's why I don't like working on 820 3209 boards. Fix it and then it'll crash or something like that. The rest of this looks good, but except for our old friend JTAG here. You cannot stay. Oh, wait a second. 3 of them are 2915Bs. That's a dead GPU. I just had a dead GPU here. Someone sent me one to disable it, so I'll do that. So the thing is sometimes they're so bad where you cannot get it into single user mode or Arch Linux. So what I do is I give the GPU a little bit of heat just so I can get it into that to disable it, and what do you know? The thing shorts to ground completely and now it power cycles. So yeah, don't mess with 2915s. They're trash, and yeah, just leave them where they belong, in the trash. Yeah, so this board is good to go. Everything looks clean, so this is going to go in the ultrasonic. After the ultrasonic, this is going to get sent back, and that's it. With that being said, I am going to go get lunch, so thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. I'm going to be doing a few live streams on Business Device. I put up a poll, and it seems most people would like the live repairs and the pre-recorded advice. So like I did a live stream this morning of starting out and how to get your business off the ground. Viewership was terrible. It was like 2 watching, but I think that's because of YouTube's notifications was off. So those will be anything like talking about anything unrelated to board repair, so business advice, whatever. That's going to be pre-recorded, and we'll do the repairs live just like this one. And I'm going to keep doing them, see where the channel goes, and we'll leave it at that. So thank you for watching, and I will see you next time.